Do you know that person in your organization that really knows anything and everything and helps every single time? Great, isn't it? And so handy every single time. And usually after a certain while, these people become managers. And why this might be an issue, we're going to talk about that today. We have an expert on the matter with us here today. Hello and yet welcome back for the third time in a row, now fourth time in total. Hello and welcome back, Barbara Wittmann.
Thanks for having me back.
Thank you very much. So you call it the Sally problem. What is the problem when you have someone, these people actually and genuinely are engaged with the organization and they actually want to help. And you claim that we break our best problem solvers. Why do you
Yeah,
think we do that?
yeah. So organizations are looking for what I call the Sallys. Sorry if anyone is
Hmm.
named Sally, but
Hmm.
hey. Um, and they are promoting them because they are the workhorses. They always fix anything, they stay long nights, they always pull people together. It's like, yay. They do qualify to be a high potential, technically,
Hmm.
right? So they are moved up the ladder. And usually, with the promotion, especially in mid-sized companies, you get a new business card, you're super proud,
Yeah.
maybe you get the new office and it's like, hey, you got it made. But no one gives you the tools of what's next. So if you are the workhorse and you have been pulling the wagon, it's really hard to lean into the things that are really needed as the next level up. And that is not just communication skills or anything that the HR department and their toolbox offers. It is how do I string things together? How do I tell a story? How do
Hmm.
I connect the dots? How do I delegate? And how do I handle a complexity that all of a sudden has become, the wild growth? While before I was fixating on solving one thing, all
Yeah.
of a sudden I need to understand how things are connected in a whole different way.
Absolutely. And you talk about responsibility without mandate. What do you
Yeah.
specifically mean with that?
So that is something I see everywhere. And that happens when people get promoted into a manager or a director level, um, that they may have the title, but they don't have the means to actually own and make a decision.
Hmm.
It's either because they are lacking security in their new position. That usually is the case, or it is unclear of how far they can go. Where does my picket fence end? Where does it start? So they are scared of making decisions. So they are basically breaking under a massive load of things, and they don't really have the mandate to change anything, or they perceive they don't have the mandate. Usually it is the perception problem. And again, if you move up from worker B into the next level, um, you also need to move up in perception of yourself. And that is something that is never addressed really.
Absolutely. And when you talk about this shared mental model, which you often mention,
Mhm.
how do you deal with? Because I'm absolutely sure in a corporate world, people will immediately get why they probably need that. How do you want to convince, let's say, especially in this, the person that pulls the carriage, solves everything, that is the workhorse. Usually these people work in mid-sized businesses. And
Yeah.
when you come along with shared mental model, they say, look, we're a mid-sized business. Anyone works a lot here. That's just how things work. And we do things like that for a long time. And we do it successfully that way.
Yeah.
Why should someone suddenly say we do it in a different way and engage in a concept called shared mental model?
So the shared mental model is essentially something very simple, and it actually comes from emergency response. Um, and shared mental model for emergency response means when a call gets made, they don't just stand around and say, huh, which car are we taking now, huh? You know
Hmm.
what? Yeah. So it really is a little bit of a muscle memory and also understanding. Yeah, call gets in, we get in that car, we go, right? You do this, you do this, and that's how we do it. So shared mental model is actually hitting the ground running, but we all need to understand that we have the same picture. And that's what I see many times. And that's also where those promoted people are, falling on, or that's their downfall. Um, they don't really have any toolbox of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
In their head, it's like, oh yeah, it's totally clear. But then how do I bring this across to the upper management and also to the people that are needing to do it essentially?
Mm-hmm.
So in a simplified version, it's a shared map.
Yeah. So when we talk about the shared map, and you say, okay, this shared map takes care that anyone knows what they need to do in which situation, how can we at the same time prevent that we get this silo thinking that you often have in large organizations where someone says, okay, look, this is my job. Left and right of that is not my job. So suddenly from anyone doing anything with this workhorse approach, you move into, okay, we have a shared map and this part of the map is mine and the rest, none of my business, which of course people do not want to have in their organizations.
Mhm.
How do you find the golden line in between these two approaches?
Yeah, and that's a protective measure. So when you get promoted into the next level up and you're in over your head, literally, you have no tools at your disposal, you get territorial. That is a very simple thing. So having a map literally that goes beyond boundaries. Yes, it takes a little bit to understand that, but let's break it down and say, okay, so we have a project that we want to complete and we want to finish successfully. Um, so a simple way of doing that is to sit down with the other department leaders and say, okay, so what is the goal? What do we all want to achieve? Because a project doesn't just have a start date and an end date. So
Mm,
what's the ideal outcome? And you basically come up with a mission statement like you would do with any company, right? And that mission statement you put on every first slide.
hmm
Every project meeting you have, you remind people, say, hey, this is why we're in here for, and this is why we're working. And then you go into starting your this is where we stand and this is the tasks. Because what happens is we get lost in the minutia.
mm, absolutely. Yeah. When people now say, this sounds like a lot of work, and it also sounds like something where you can get things really wrong when you don't have the experience. Well, lucky us, we have someone in this room who has the experience and who can help you with that. When people now say, I think we need help, how can we get in touch with Barbara? How can people get in touch with you?
Mm. So very simple over my website, digitalwisdom.co. And I do have a program that I'm running that's called The Threshold. It's an 8-week immersion for exactly the people that get promoted and that need to deal with complexity without a mandate. And they get the tools and the means to actually move forward with a shared mental model.
Brilliant. I think these are the perfect final words. One thing I have to say, we have two other episodes with you, so it really pays off to watch all three. And in total, we have four. So we had one before even. So anyone listening to this and saying that's pretty good, which it is, listen to all of them. So of course, I have to say, we now see how important it is to have this shared mental model, and you now have the exact same person which can actually help you with getting that into your organization. So at the end of this podcast and videocast, there's only one thing left for me to say. Barbara, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.